Hello, and welcome to Learning Spoken English Lesson 4. I'd like to thank all of you who have requested the practice exercises for Learning Spoken English Lessons 1, 2, and 3. Your emails have come to me from all over the world, and I really appreciate your interest. Your requests, along with my teaching experience in China, have made me realize how difficult it must be to practice spoken English when there are so few Westerners living around the world. With this in mind, I've been studying to try to find a way to help you practice spoken English over the Internet. I hope these lessons have been helpful. Thank you again for watching my videos. When learning to speak American English, it's important to understand two things. First, speaking American English is different from reciting or learning vocabulary words. Secondly, when Americans speak, they use informal contractions or reductions to link two or more words together to form one word. Let me explain these ideas in a little more detail. I found that many of my international friends, when speaking English, tend to pronounce each letter within a word with the same emphasis or volume. For example, my friends might pronounce the following words in this way: cat, cat, settled, settled, maintenance, maintenance. When we Americans speak, we view each word as a single sound or each syllable within the word as a single sound. This means that instead of pronouncing each letter, we're pronouncing the entire word or syllable as one sound. Let's look at the first slide again, and I will pronounce each word as you might learn it in vocabulary practice, and then I'll pronounce each word as they are pronounced when speaking American English. Cat, 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 cat. Settled, 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 settled. Maintenance, 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 maintenance. Did you notice how softer the words sounded when I spoke as Americans do? Now, I know I overemphasized the words at first to illustrate a point, but listen carefully as I pronounce the words one more time and see if you can hear the difference. Cat, cat. Settled, settled. Maintenance, maintenance. Did you hear the difference this time? Listen again. Cat, cat. Settled, settled. Maintenance, maintenance. When words are pronounced as vocabulary words, they become very harsh sounding. Cat, settled, maintenance. When speaking American English, we do not pronounce the letter T in the middle of the word or at the end of the word as strongly as we do if the T is at the beginning of the word. For example, cat, settled, maintenance. Did you notice how soft the T sounds at the end of the word cat? Cat. It's almost like the T is softly bringing the word to an end. Now, on the other hand, the T in the word top, top, is pronounced very strongly or with more emphasis on the beginning of the word than on the end of the word. Listen to that one more time. Top, top. When my international friends speak American English, they speak the way they practice vocabulary words. They pronounce each letter in each word instead of allowing the sentence to flow from word to word naturally. This makes the sentence sound very mechanical or unnatural. Look at the sentence on the following slide and listen to how it sounds when I speak each word as a vocabulary word, as many internationals do. Now remember, this is an example. I know you don't speak this way, but I'm going to overemphasize each word as a way of illustration. Do you want a Coke? Now please, do not repeat this sentence after me. Remember, this is just an example. Do you want a Coke? Do you want a Coke? Now listen as I repeat the sentence as an American would speak it. Pay attention to the flow of spoken American English. Do you want a Coke? Do you want a Coke? In fact, we might say, you want a Coke? You want a Coke? The second thing to remember when speaking American English is the use of informal contractions or reductions. Now let me warn you, informal contractions or reductions are used only when speaking American English. If you use informal contractions or reductions when writing, they may be marked as incorrect. Informal contractions or reductions are used only when speaking, and in many cases should not be used when speaking formally or within a business or academic setting. However, the use of informal contractions or reductions is so widespread among American English speakers that you should try to learn and use them as you speak American English. One of the most common and most frequently used reductions in spoken American English is the contraction y, sometimes pronounced j, in the place of you. Let me explain by using the sentence from earlier in the session. Do you want a Coke? If you remember, I said that the sentence, do you want a Coke, becomes, do you want a Coke, when spoken by American English speakers. Notice that the word you is reduced or becomes the informal contraction ya, and want becomes wanna. I'm not sure I can explain how you is reduced to ya, other than to say that all languages through the years and through use are reduced to their simplest forms. You is reduced to ya because it's easier to say. On the other hand, I can explain how want becomes wanna. If you remember from Learning Spoken English Lesson 2, we link or join words together when speaking American English. Words ending with consonants are linked or joined to the word following them if that word begins with a vowel sound. Words that end with a vowel sound are linked to the word that follows them if that word begins with a vowel sound. So the word want and are linked or joined together and become wanta. Now remember, earlier in this session I mentioned that the letter T, when it is found in the middle or at the end of a word, is not pronounced as strongly or with as much emphasis as if it were at the beginning of the word. Remember the example I used, cat and top? By linking the two words together and by reducing the amount of stress or emphasis placed on the letter T, wanta becomes wanna. Wanna. Do you want a Coke? There's one more thing I'd like to point out concerning linking. The word do and the informal contraction ya should be linked together. Vowel sound to form do ya. Do ya. So the sentence, do you want a Coke, when spoken becomes, do you want a Coke? Do you want a Coke? We've covered a lot of information during this lesson. I hope you find it helpful. Please continue to practice your spoken English and contact me at the email address that is now on your screen for practice exercises that go along with this lesson. Until next time, goodbye.